biscotti. I think I'm pronouncing it right. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right, but I might not be. So those are some of the flavors I like. Now, what I'm trying to do now, I'm trying to do something totally different. Like, what I mean by that is I'm trying to get the infusions oil. The infusion oil is where you can cook with the cannabis. It's cooking oil, cannabis or something like that. They have it to where you can also do it at home, homemade. I haven't got that far advanced with that yet, so I don't want to be like, a dummy on wheels trying something out that I know I never tried. So I never tried that out. So I'm gonna like stay away from that right now because I don't know nothing about that part as far as how to do it. Now, if anybody know how you doing it, like share the love, share the recipe and stuff like that. Now, I do go on Leafly, and Leafly is also with Grow Healthy and also Weed Maps. You can go on any one of those so far that I know that if you're looking for anything that's in your area, what they sell, they'll let you know exactly like the dispensaries, like your local dispensaries. I wish they had it to where it's like if since you're a medical patient, you can still order from other states. Because from what my husband stated, Oregon has the the best, I guess the high intensity best wise, as far as the THC part of it. I just want to know, do a lot of you know what THC, what's the difference between CBD and THC? I now just keep in mind, I'm like a dummy on wheels learning all this like new information. So don't try to make it look like I know it all because I don't. I learned really majority of this. I have to get a props up to most to my husband because he know all of that. He know the seed quality. He know what's worth buying as a seed. I mean, he know all of that. He know all of that good stuff. And I look a mess. My birthday Sunday, I'm finna fix it all up. So what was I searching for you all? Oh, the difference between, because I almost forgot what I was looking for a second. Oh, and then also the difference between and recreational versus medical, because a lot of people don't never understand what's the difference between the medical side and the recreational side. So let me get that information. THC versus CBD, because I know it is a difference between the two. Sometimes we just don't know what the difference is between the two. And I just learned the difference between the two myself, to be frankly honest with you, because I didn't get too much understanding what is the difference between the two. So now, since I know what is the difference between the two, I want to share that with you all. So let me let you know what's the difference. Now, when it comes to CBD and THC, they are both cannabis found in marijuana, though similar in what they may help treat. Now, the most important difference between THC, it causes a person to experience a high while CBD will not. That's the only difference. Now, CBD probably is supposed to take more better care of your pain, I guess, experience what you facing, versus THC will have you high as well, and it do help with your pain. Now, THC will have you high, don't get me wrong, but it also, to me personally, it kind of have it tolerant with the pain. And tolerant pain is way better than actually severe pain to me, you know, or either mild. That's the difference that I get with those. Now, with the gummies and the side effect with the flour and all that other stuff, I'm gonna get with that information as well. Like now, I'm gonna talk about the difference between the CBD flour and the THC flour. Now, this flour is in uh, divide from marijuana, and while the two bud types might look identical to you, They aren't. CBD buds are actually the flower of a female hemp plant and just the designer strain of marijuana. They have been specially breed. I'm sorry, I said bread. How you gonna breed weed? They have been breed to contain specific amounts of CBD and THC. So that's how they do the flower. That's why you always see some CBD flower look just like THC, but it's not like THC. And smoke some might that flavor might smoke a little bit better. Probably it depends on your high tolerance too, I think. Because you got some people who can pop like a lot of pain pills and still not high because they gotta pop so many pills. Just like weed heads. Weed heads gotta smoke so much pot just to get a certain type of buzz. And I think that pretty much kind of deals with the same thing that we're facing today. I remember when they first came out with the CBD and I tried it in the store. The only thing that I didn't too much like with the CBD part, I didn't like the way how it kind of like made me felt. I never got high off of it, of course, but I didn't have no feeling with it. Like it didn't make me feel no different than me smoking THC. So since THC have a little bit more and a little bit different, that I feel and that it helps on my end. That's why I say certain things help for certain people because you got a lot of CBD smokers as well as a lot of THC smokers. That's why a lot of people ask, is this THC in it before they actually purchase? Now, CBD flower isn't always labeled as a hemp flower, but it is. And the flower of bud is in derived from marijuana. The two buds might look identical, like I said. They might just look identical, but they not. Just so you know. So you know the difference. One is a hemp flower and one isn't. Now we want to know what's the difference. Now just make sure you get your medical card. Now I do know if you use your medical card in other states, most states won't honor the medical card, but you got some states that will, and they give you a discount. That's the only difference when you use your card out of state because you get different pricings. You get better savings on it. Don't get me wrong, you do get a better savings. And sometimes they just hook you up when you're a medical patient. You just never know. You get like more. From what I was told when I called the dispensaries, they said that on the medical side, the high is higher than the recreational side, meaning the percentage of the THC. But I don't know, I don't think I experienced it that way. Because to me, it seemed like when I was on recreational before I got a license, I mean, not a license, but a card, I was still kind of high off the recreational side. I guess it just depends on the dispensary, maybe. Now, recreational marijuana is pot that is used without medical justifications. That's the only difference with that. Recreational marijuana usually have more THC content than the medical variety. So that's what they say on this one. Users with a high on the recreational side. Now the medical side, it says, let me see what it said. It say you may now know that. Let me see. That's just medical information. I ain't gonna go into the history of it. I'm trying to find the main breakdown of the medical part of it. Unless somebody can, want to jump on and, help me help educate others on the research that I found on medical marijuana. And we can kind of like help each other because, you want to know the difference. Because I look at it like I just got tired of popping pain pills. They don't do nothing for me like the actual pain pills, not even Percocet. They gave me Percocet after surgery, and that didn't do nothing for me. And then he gave me one real strong, and it still didn't do nothing. But when I had took my medical pill and stuff, it eased it. So I really don't pop my pain pills as much as I do like I used to do. In recreational, weed typically contains a higher THC content than the medical. And then it say you need a recommendation for medical. That's what about another difference. And what that is, you would need to have a qualifying condition to get a medical marijuana recommendation. This is the key difference between medical and recreation. Now, why do we need a recreation, which is a good topic? Okay, so you can go into any recreation dispensary and buy what you need if it's legal in that state, just like I mentioned. And you over the required age, of course. You don't want nobody going there that's younger, but you got younger like kids and babies and stuff like that, or younger cancer patients. They also going into weed dispensaries too because they also need it. If y'all quite remember back then, I forgot what year it was when that baby and she had some type of illness, and that illness that she had, and I'm gonna look that up and find it and bring it back on the topic of the show. But she had this type of illness to where that her parents tried everything they needed for her to get her well, and they happened to give her medical cannabis or recreation. I don't know if it's recreation or medical then, but they gave her cannabis oil, and it helped her, and it helped control her illness. So that's what they mean by recommendations on certain like candidates. No medical card is required to buy the recreational side, but which is another significant medical marijuana and recreational situation. Of course, you have to be over 18. We know that. And but like they said, they always keep saying like the recreational. Now, I have seen some of the high THC in some of the medical, so especially at True Leaf. Because I go to True Leaf, I go to Grow Healthy, I go to Liberty Health. Now I go to Grow Healthy because of their flowers. They sometimes it depends on they cartridge, because sometimes they cartridge don't really be all that. I mean, it don't. Now Liberty Health, when I get their cartridge, it gets me high. Like it's certain ones I get, like when it comes to the one at Liberty Health. And truly, to me, they got great flour. They got great pills. I can't say gummies. Now the gummies are pretty good, but they're not gooder to me than Route 66 in California because I get Huckleberry gummies from them. Like I love their gummies there. And they got the liquid THC as well as the concentrated THC. I do both of those. Now the RSO THC ain't no punk, baby. You take that, dissolve in your mouth, man, you're gonna be high. Like, woo. It might be days before you get that high down. And it kind of do a little bit the same with the liquid form, but I think the concentrate is more stronger than the other one, the dissolved one. The one the one is look real clear, like watery. So I think the RSO is way more stronger than that one. But every each is own. Each person might feel different with it. That's the whole point. And then that's why they want you to express your feelings, because how are you feeling with the medication or whatever, like the weed, the flower, whatever, you kind of can help somebody else to see if they feel in the same exact way. Like now, I take a pill, and like I said, I take the hybrid. I take the hybrid. Ooh, that's ugly. And I got sativa, so I take the hybrid. So as I take my hybrid pill, I have me feeling. It had me real relaxed, like super relaxed, to whereas at half the time I probably don't even know what I'm saying. I probably be on here talking like, did I really just say that? Or what am I saying? I gotta ask myself, did I make sense to what I just said? And then I gotta clean it up because that ain't what I meant to say. Because I probably jump off from one topic to another. Yeah, sometimes a high get you like that. Sometimes you get so high, people get so jealous because you're higher than them. Trust me, my husband is like that. He don't like when my high is better than his high. Like I be too high, and I don't be. To me, I don't feel like I be too high. I could take a pill, smoke a flower. I be straight. I be high. I be so relaxed. And with my husband, he gotta keep going and going and going like the like the bunny battery. He gotta keep going and going and going, which is funny to me. I be bugging up just to get where to feel or to be where I'm at with my feeling. So I be good, you know. So that's why I say each his own is gonna make you feel different. You know, everyone is not gonna probably feel the same way. So that's understandable when it comes to cannabis. Now I'm gonna tell you what type of flavors that I always get on here. I want to know what type of flavors you all like too, because I know you got some flavors we never heard of now, and I'm kind of like behind on stuff, so I need to do a lot of catching up. So who can catch up with me? Give me some catch up over here, cause I don't. I'm so serious. I'm so behind, and they be having deals. It's good to get your deals. Like True Leaf got deals, and I'm gonna tell you what they deals are. But when you go on weed maps, now those dispensary apps don't do nothing but just let you know the nearest ones that's in your area and what they kind of like sell once you create your account and you in that area and you know all that good stuff. So that's how you'll be able to find. That's what how you be able to find a good deal in the area that you live in. You know, once you connect to one of those stores. Now, as I'm going on weed maps, and then I like the pills. The pills kind of sneak up on you. That's the only killing part, boy. You it'll sneak up on you and even know you have until you know you have. Do that make sense? Okay. Now, who is really an OG Kush fan? And I know it's a hybrid because I am a hybrid person, but when I smoked an OG Kush, it didn't really make me feel. I know. I think it didn't give me the feeling that I was looking for. You know how you just like a relationship, you look for certain things out of that relationship, right? It was a certain thing I was looking for out of this OG Kush. I couldn't get jiggy with that. So I did Pineapple Express. Same thing. I couldn't get jiggy with Pineapple Express. Like everything with Pineapple Express, I don't know, it just didn't give me what I was looking for. I guess I was looking for that. Let me tell you what I was probably looking for. That probably makes sense. I was looking for like the energy, the uplifting, the happy part, and it was some more other stuff, but Pineapple Express does give you that, but it just didn't. For some reason, I couldn't get it. I couldn't get what I was looking for out of that actual high. But I think it was based off the THC percentage. So anything like I guess 18 and up is good for me on percentage wise, because I think anything under 20 sometimes is not. It don't do nothing for me. Like people love Blue Dream. Blue Dream does the same as Pine. It's a hybrid, does the same effects as well. But and then guys, if y'all see me looking this way on the camera, that's because I'm on the internet searching. And then also I have my podcast going at the same time. So podcasts, my other people on the other side of True. I'm also going live on my YouTube channel with True. So you guys know. Like, okay, where is she at? I don't know if she's looking or going. So that was the flavor of the Blue Dream. Now, let's talk about. I didn't like the 9 pound hammer. I didn't too much care for that. I don't know. Something about that flavor. I just really didn't like that much, I guess. I didn't like it that much. Because they be having really like good flavors and stuff, but I just didn't like that one. I'm really waiting for them to bring out the huckleberry back as far as the flower. It's called huckleberry cough that we have here. And it to me is similar to the huckleberry that I normally like smoking, but I'm trying to see it. Now I like member berry. Member berry is 20% THC. So that's a really good one to go grab and get. So I do like that. I gotta add it to the chart. Now, I ain't never smoked the pink cookies. Pink cookies look like it might smoke. It's 22% THC. I think it might smoke. What you guys think? I think it's going to smoke because it look fire. I ain't going to even lie. It look fire. It look fire. That one look fire. And let me see. I didn't like Store Dog, and that's 18% THC. Something about that effect I again that I was not getting from that. I don't know. I wasn't getting no effects from that for some apparent reason. And I kind of like the ground, the shaky type flour. I don't know. I think I know why. I know why. I like it more than the ones that you got to break down because I be feeling like they be cheating us out of our doggone. You pay $45 and then it look like you only got a few buds in for $45. But when you get the ground or the shake, what they call it in certain states, it seems like you get way more in the shake than you do and than you do with the ones that's not the shake, the ones that you got to break up and kind of shake, kind of like ground it yourself. I love the ground part because you get a lot for your money's worth. Like $25 for ground ain't bad compared to you paying $43 for actual plant itself, and you only get a few pieces in there, and then you still be not high the way you want to be high. Then you got to go back and spend another $45 or $53. Now, I guess the reason why they give you the shake or the ground, I'm assuming is because the THC level, like I'm seeing one on here, the THC level is 17% and 15%. So I'm assuming that's why you get the shake, and that's probably why you get more in the shake because of the THC levels. So I don't know. But they bring out my other fire stuff now. I need my fire. I need my fire. Because I be in my zone. When I say I be in my zone, I be in my zone. I be in my zone. So all the hybrids. I don't know what type of smoker are you. Sometimes you gotta ask yourself, what type of smoker am I? Am I a sativa? Am I a hybrid? Am I an indica? And then let me give you the difference between the two so you know what type of high are you. So let me just put that up here 1 second. So how's it going with everybody out there today? I hope everybody is going well, staying safe out here. Because Lord knows it's going crazy. You know, they want to make a problem out of everything. So the difference, let me see, was sativa. Okay, so sativa, what's the difference on what that one do? It gives you a head high to the body high, dominating indica strains. So sativa helps ease depression symptoms, ease headaches, decrease nausea, and help combat appetite loss and generally focus better. That's what the sativa does. Now, the popular sativa cannabis strains are, just in case you guys didn't know which one of the popular ones, is Panama Red, Durban Poison, Sour Diesel, Green Crack. I didn't like Green Crack. I don't know, just that word crack I didn't like. Jack Here, Lemon Haze, and Super Silver Haze. Those are your popular strains for sativa if you're a sativa type of smoker. Now, for your indica strains and what that kind of like help and does. Now, indica is the relief body pain, especially muscle pains, nauseous, reduce, uh, increase appetite, help ease anxiety symptoms, reduce anxiety symptoms. And let me see the popular ones. Okay, the popular strains on them is Hinda Kush, Granddaddy Purple, Bubba Kush, Northern Lights, Blue Cheese, and Purple Kush. That's for you indica smokers. Now, hybrid smokers like myself, we gotta get the high to high. So a hybrid, what two flowers or what two plants in a hybrid? A hybrid strain, for a number of reasons, depends on whether they are more indica or more sativa. Okay, so that's the only difference with the hybrid. And then the head high and the body high may not be as potent sometimes. The high is even stronger than a typical strain. Now, most popular hybrid strains is Fire OG, Trainwreck, Pineapple Express, Blue Dream, which I just heard me mention, OG Kush, White Widow, and AK-47. Those are the most popular strains. They don't always have the highest in the strain, but those are your most popular strains. So just in case you get some of these new smokers out here like myself, don't know exactly what strain to really buy because you don't know exactly what type of high you're looking for. So it's best for you to I guess do your research, look on Weed's Map, Leafly, I think it's Leafly, and you can pretty much kind of see the effects on what it'll do to you. So you know your different effects. Because a lot of people don't know their different effects on what they can take. Or, like I said, you can just type on, Google. Like it'll let you know, like sativa is a high THC level, is energizing, stimulating, reduce anxiety, increase creativity, increase focus. While your indica is a high CBD level, is relaxing. It's a relief of pain, decrease nauseous, increase appetite, and better sleep. Then you got your hybrid is a mixture of both the indica and sativa. So that's the only difference with hybrid. Hybrid has both the sativa and the indica in it. To whereas that you getting a little mixture of both worlds. You're getting your high THC as well as your high CBD levels. So I hope that was a little bit educating to some. And let me see. And let me see what the effects you will receive from taking those. What kind of effect it will leave you. So let's see what kind of level it will leave you. Unless you all got something that you want to kind of share with us on what I'm not looking at or what I need to look at. In the meantime, I guess what I'm gonna do is let you listen to a live stream about the person that's one of the podcasts that's talking about cannabis that's way more educated than I am in it. And then, we'll talk about wine as well. But let me at least let you listen in on this on cannabis talk while I try to still kind of dig and search and all that other good stuff. Okay, let me get it for you. So 1 second. All right. So let me let you listen. All right. Oh, his file won't open. Okay, 1 second, guys. Let's find someone else because his did not open. So let's try a different cannabis pod. Oh, this one might work. Oh yeah, this worked for me too for cancer patients. What? Oh no. Why I can't open it? Hold on, guys. This is really helpful, but I can't open it. Oh no. Maybe I have to do it from my other phone. Hold on. Let's do it that way. Hold on, guys. Cause we're gonna be educated on what we about to smoke up in here. Hold on. Let me see. Is this cannabis health? Okay, let me go here and go to the live. And let me okay, let me All right. Let's see if it worked. Fingers crossed. Let's cross our fingers. And this is really some helpful information. Hold on. I don't know why it's not working. Hmm. Weird. That's weird. All right, let me bring up someone else on it. Let's see. Maybe y'all think it might not let me go live because I'm on my live. I'm assuming that's probably why. Because I'm study press and play and I'm not getting no play. That sounds weird, but I'm not getting no play. So let me just bring it up and see if I can find this information helpful tool to help us all. And like I said, it's not for everybody, but you just can be able to help somebody. All right, let's listen in.
Hi, I'm Corey Ellen from Cannabis Health Radio. Cannabis Health Radio is a podcast that I do with my co-host Ian Jessup weekly. Cannabis Health Radio is a show about patients who use medical cannabis for various conditions from cancer to seizures, post-traumatic stress disorder, fibromyalgia. All these patients share their stories.
Yes.
We encourage you to listen to us and subscribe to us on YouTube.
Discovered anew in the rainforest without the baggage, it would be seen as the greatest botanical discovery in the history of humanity.
We're at a turning point in history where we can stand up and say, listen, we were lied to. We know that cannabis works.
Yes.
I can't say enough that I've seen it with my own eyes. I experienced it personally. It saved my life. There's no doubt in my mind. It works.
So I give it to him. And the first day I give it to him, I call my mom that night. I remember crying on the phone saying, Mom, you won't believe it. James' first day without a seizure, he didn't have a seizure today. I mean, he literally had a seizure every day for 4.5 years.
It's world changing. It'll change our economics. It'll change our health. It'll definitely change the pharmaceutical industry. We know this because they're fighting back tooth and nail trying to stop this.
You have enough people sit in your office who tell you that this is what has helped them, and you see it, and it's extremely rewarding as a physician.
You can still be an upstanding member of society, still be a lawyer, doctor, whatever you're doing in your profession, and utilize cannabis and get off these medications.
Yes.
It has given her strength. It's given her seizure control and the ability to do. The relief on us was almost as big.
How do you feel now when you think about the people that you sent to jail for cannabis?
I wish you wouldn't have brought it up. It haunts me. To this day, it haunts me.
No, we have got to get this information out there that we don't have to torture our children in order to treat their cancer.
The cannabis awakening is spreading around the world. People understand the health benefits.
It's being demonized.
Now you see, a lot of people have a lot of bad things about cannabis because they want to keep us stuck in a society that they want us to stay in, which is on pain pills. I'm just trying to figure out mentally what a lot of people think. You want to call marijuana or legal cannabis as the problem to society, right? Okay. But I guess pain pills is okay. They both are drugs. despite how you look at it, they both are drugs. When you get prescribed a prescription from your doctor, that's a narcotic. Everybody know what a narcotic is. At least this is a herbal institutional way of looking at it, because it's growing healthy, like herbals that really is needed in your body, compared to you constantly relying on this pain pill, you constantly relying on this and that. Now they just seen me today. Now I know for a fact that God is in my step and in my corner in every situation that I'm facing. I put no doubts with that. And is this what he wants me to live with and in? I'm okay with it. I'm not okay, but I'm okay. Because for the simple fact, long as I'm okay with it, the fact that I know God is still gonna be with me and he gonna find every solution to make sure that I survive in this, that I be a warrior in my sarcoma. Now I'm not okay with the fact, because mentally I'm thinking of death. I'm thinking of my body and how it's going to lose this and lose that it's not going to look the same facial wise, all that, my inner beauty, and outer beauty. But you have real life people, and I'm a real life person, that people that know me, not somebody you've seen on TV that you could say, oh, that's real, because that's a real person. They might got paid for that. I'm not getting paid for this. So real life, cannabis does help with most cancer patients. And I'm not going to lie, it really helps ease the pain. It really helps ease a lot of things that you're missing, like appetite, all the nauseous feeling. Like I said, I don't get as nauseous as I used to. I used to be nauseous super bad. And I think my nauseous not only came from cancer, but also my iron deficiency as well. So my iron deficiency with mild anemia. So I had a lot of this going on with my body. And it might be some other stuff. You just never know. But like I said, the God that I serve, I'm just going to continue to do what I need to do, follow the plan. And that's what he said, follow his plan. And I'm hoping and praying that I'm going in the right direction in his plan. Not in my own way, but in his way, So, but you did hear that. That was episode, like an intro, right? Now I'm going to allow you to hear the actual story. I'm trying to see if I can turn my cameras away where you can actually see it. So I'm going to try to see if I can let you see it. 1 second.
Welcome to episode 1 of Cannabis Health Radio. I'm Ian Jessup.
And I'm Corey Elland.
Thank you for joining us on this fascinating journey into the world of medical cannabis. This is not a podcast about the recreational use of marijuana. There are lots of websites and podcasts about that, and that's great. We have no argument. This podcast is about informing listeners of the many health benefits of cannabis through interviews with experts and those knowledgeable about this amazing plant that was used for thousands of years and widely used by doctors until the American government began demonizing marijuana in the late 1930s, and the war on marijuana has continued ever since.
Yes.
Besides interviewing knowledgeable people, we're going to bring you the many, many stories of people who were ill or a loved one was ill, and their health was turned around by using cannabis. We'll even talk to people who were at death's door, who recovered, and are healthy today thanks to the remarkable powers within marijuana. No matter where listeners are in the world, our mission is to help people help themselves. We should state outright that we are not healthcare professionals, and anything stated on this program should not be construed as medical advice.
Right.
The first story we're going to delve into in our initial podcast is the remarkable story of my co-host Corey Elland, who in early October of this year celebrated 4 years of being cancer-free after being told she would be dead within months for refusing radiation. Corey, take us back to the very beginning of your story. Prior to your cancer diagnosis, what was your health like?
Ooh, my health was not good. In 2007, I had a heart attack and double bypass surgery. As a result of that, I ended up with a condition called post-sternotomy syndrome, as well as having a malaligned sternum. So life was pretty bleak. I spent the day on painkillers, couldn't wait for night to come, would take a sleeping pill, go to sleep, wake up a couple hours later in agony, sit on my balcony, rocking back and forth, crying in pain until morning, In the morning, I'd be, okay, I made it through another night. And that was my life day in and day out.
How many painkillers did you take a day?
Ooh, this was a 5-year ordeal, just about 5 years. And I was on everything from 10 to 15 Tylenol 3s a day, Percocet, oxycodone, Dilaudid, opium, you name it.
You had it all.
I had it all.
Were you hooked on those?
I don't think I was hooked. And I have this whole theory on that when it's going for pain, you just don't get hooked, I guess. Certainly that I think was the case in my case. But nothing would really touch the pain. There was nothing that really worked. It was all very temporary.
So you had this heart issue, and you were not that healthy.
No.
And you went to the doctor because of what?
Because I was getting some abdominal pain.
Mm-hmm.
And I really was not expecting to, for anything big to happen. I just was getting some, like abdominal cramping and stuff. And I thought it was maybe post-menopause stuff. I wasn't sure, but I certainly wasn't, expecting any big news.
And what did the doctors tell you?
When I went in and saw the specialist, he looked a little concerned when I spoke to him in his office before he examined me. And then when he started to examine me, he took one look, and he wasn't one of these guys that was really warm and fuzzy. But he just looked at me and he said, I'm sorry.
Hold up, guys. I got to start my podcast back over. But you are listening to the fact of what they saying about that, right? And I am a cancer patient, literally. So let me put this back up real quick and start it back, okay? What is it? The Cannabis Health Radio. All right, let me go ahead and start it. Sorry, guys. Sorry.
I'm so sorry. You need to see your doctor. You need to see your doctor right now. And within 2 weeks, I was in the operating room for diagnostic procedures.
Okay.
The post-menopause stuff, I wasn't sure, but I certainly wasn't, expecting any big news.
And what did the doctors tell you?
When I went in and saw the specialist, he looked a little concerned when I spoke to him in his office before he examined me. And then when he started to examine me, he took one look, and he wasn't one of these guys that was really warm and fuzzy. But he just looked at me and he said, I'm sorry. I am so sorry. You need to see your doctor. You need to see your doctor right now. And within 2 weeks, I was in the operating room for diagnostic procedures.
So at the time, he didn't tell you what was wrong with you?
No, he pretty much hinted that it was something very serious. He said, you can't wait. You need to go there today.
So what was it like for you to know something was wrong with you, something seriously wrong with you, and you had to wait 2 weeks to really find out what it was like?
Well, it didn't take 2 weeks to find it all out because I was having these different tests done, and I saw the surgeon before I went into the OR, and I said to him, do you think it's cancer? He said, yes, it is cancer. It was actually fairly abrupt. But yeah.
So you went in for surgery.
Yes.
And you got out of surgery. What did they tell you?
This doctor was amazing, actually. It turned out to be an amazing guy. He talked to me before he put me out and tried to reassure me. And he actually was sitting by my bed when I came to and, told me that, yes, he had confirmed that it was cancer and that I'd have to go to the cancer clinic, et cetera, and that he'd see me in his office.
Now, when you were diagnosed with anal canal cancer, the same cancer that took the life of Farrah Fawcett,
yes,
by the way, American actress Farrah Fawcett, and you opted for surgery, and you come out of surgery, and what did the doctor say to you about your future prognosis?
Well, first of all, understand that when they did the surgery, it was a diagnostic procedure. It wasn't like, we're going to get rid of these things. It was, we need to go in and do a bunch of biopsies to see, to determine what stage you're at, or, what exactly we're dealing with. Is this a squamous cell carcinoma? Is this an adenocarcinoma, etc. When I spoke with the surgeon, he was basically fairly matter of fact. He said, this is what you got to do. You've got to have radiation. That's the next step. And that was pretty much it until I went to the cancer clinic.
So when they said radiation, what did you tell them? Or did you tell them anything?
I didn't tell him anything because I had to go to the cancer clinic to do that. And I was pretty much in stunned mode at that stage in the game. You're still kind of reeling with the news and trying to absorb it.
Mm-hmm.
And, and to be honest, at that point in the game, I had no idea what radiation would entail.
So you went to the cancer clinic. What did they tell you about radiation?
Well, when I got there, it was kind of like a meat market, and the doctor was very matter of fact. I took 2 people with me to make sure I heard everything clearly and properly.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember him saying very nonchalantly, well, this is the worst part of the body to treat. We're going to hit your coccyx and your pubic bones, so you'll have bone deterioration. We'll try not to hit your spine. You're going to have 2nd, 3rd degree burns vaginally, rectally, perianally.
He was very ignorant.
And
He told her, like, if she
he said your vagina will probably fuse shut, and your rectum will probably fuse shut too. But don't worry about that. We'll just take you up to the operating room and dilate you. And I remember thinking to myself in that moment, I don't freaking think so.
So you got this terrible news from your doctor. You went home. Did you have to give them an indication right away that you refused radiation, or did you do that later?
Well, actually what happened was, first of all, he wouldn't give me straight answers on pain control, and he would not give me straight answers on long-term side effects. So some of the long-term side effects of this lovely mode of treatment are things such as you will never know again when you have to go to the bathroom. You won't even so much as get a tummy cramp. You'll have constant diarrhea. You can end up with lymphedema, peripheral neuropathy. It just went on and on and on. Bone damage so bad that you can't stand, etc. All sorts of different things. Many people end up with a colostomy. So lots of really, really horrific things. And, I'm talking about some of these personal details because that's the reality of radiation. That's the reality of cancer treatment. It's horrible. It's not about losing your hair with chemotherapy and throwing up. So in my case, I said to the doctor that I wanted some time to think about this. I didn't say that I wasn't going to do it. I didn't even say I was going to do something alternative. I just said I wanted some time to think about it. He got up. He walked out of the room. As he was walking out of the room, he told me that I had 2 to 4 months, 6 on the outside, muttered something about me having a death wish, and walked out.
Dang, he was brutal.
So we sat there for a few minutes, and then my girlfriend looked at me and said, well, I guess we're done here. So we went upstairs to the library to read up on anal cancer, and there's not a lot out there on that particular cancer, but what we could find, what was the number 1 cause of anal cancer? Radiation. So I'm thinking, let me get this straight. You want to radiate me to get rid of cancer to what? Create more cancer? And it just didn't make sense to me.
And that's how I'm
And you
feeling.
told me the story a couple of weeks ago.
Now, I'm going to pause right there. In a way, that's kind of how I feel too, because now since I got the radiation, it does lead to second cancers, right? Now, I kind of don't like the idea of having it, to be honest with you, but I guess my stage was almost where I was at, like she were, because I have a rare cancer, soft tissue. And I'm just praying, whatever the consequences is, that whatever it is, it doesn't spread, and if it does try to spread like mine just did, I hope I can get it. It's called on time to where we don't have to wait months and months till it's extremely, I guess, big to the fact where they can't do anything about it. Because sometimes I think that's how the doctors do. They set you up, to me, I feel like, for failure. You get set up for failure to still hear the same sad results. And that's what I don't like. So let me let you finish listening. This
A young woman who was 32 who had the same cancer as you and went the conventional route with radiation.
Yeah.
And some of the problems she encounters today, which are horrific, especially not knowing when you have to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And it's just involuntary.
It's horrible. She goes over 100 times a day to the bathroom. She's been all over the world looking for help. She was an oncology nurse. And she said, Corey, I wish to God I had never, ever had to have this done.
So you went home, you were thinking about radiation. You didn't give them a definitive answer.
No.
And you went home. What did you do next?
My sister sent me a video called Run From the Cure, which sat in my mailbox for about a week because I could see it was an hour long. And I used to work counseling cancer patients, terminally ill cancer patients and their families, coming from a holistic vein. And I thought basically I already knew anything there was to know about holistic ways. So I didn't really watch any of it actually until she phoned me and said, have you watched it? And after I hung up, I thought, okay, I'll watch 10 minutes a day just to get her off my back. And I sat down and watched the first 10 minutes and went, whoa, and watched the whole thing. And I knew, it was like I knew this was it. This was what was going to save me.
So Rick Simpson's video, Run From the Cure. Rick. And that's a video that's being watched by probably
hundreds of thousands
of people around the world. Okay, you watched the video.
Yeah.
What did you do next?
I got on the phone and I phoned a physician friend of mine in Italy, very well-known man, and said, Danielle, what do you know about this? And he's like, oh, Corey, we've been using cannabinoids for years with cancer here. So what I did from there is research it day in, day out. That's all I did was research cannabis oil and cancer. And I was stunned by the amount of medical evidence out there. Absolutely blown away.
So you decided to make your own? Or could you buy some?
No, I was completely on my own then. There weren't any Facebook groups or anything. I just had the video Run From the Cure in the website phoenixtears.ca. I got signed up at the Victoria Cannabis Buyers Club, went through their intake procedure, etc. And then I went up to the counter and said, yes, I'd like to buy some cannabis oil. And they said, we don't have that. And I'm like, what do you mean you don't have it? And I can remember even now, the feeling of complete and utter desperation, thinking that I finally got somewhere where I could get this oil that would hopefully save my life, and then find out they didn't have any, that they didn't carry it. They just didn't carry it. And there weren't the number of dispensaries that there are now in Victoria.
Yeah. So what did you do?
I got online and watched Run From the Cure again and went on the Phoenix Tears website, and there were printed instructions on how to make it, and I made my own with the help of friends. I'm on a disability pension, so I didn't have a lot of money. I have an amazing group of friends who would raise a bit of money at a time for me. I'd go and I'd buy an ounce or 2 ounces of cannabis and make enough oil to keep me going, and that's what I did.
Corey, when you started taking cannabis, did you notice a difference? How long did it take before you noticed a difference in how you felt?
Well, the first thing I noticed was that I was sleeping because I hadn't had a decent night's sleep in years.
Because you're racked with pain.
Racked with pain, yeah. Within 10 days, I was down to taking a half a Tylenol 3 a day.
10 days?
Yeah. I hadn't even thought of this oil helping with any of that. I was all about just trying to cure my cancer. So this was like a bonus that I hadn't even counted on happening.
So you went from about taking maybe 10 to 15 painkillers a day down to half of one?
No, I went from 10 to 15 Tylenol 3, never mind the Dilaudid and everything else on top of that.
So you were popping them.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh my gosh. I had a tolerance that was out of this world. Yeah.
Interesting. So was it difficult to make your own?
No, it's actually really easy, but you have to be careful. Mm-hmm. You want to make it outside, or at that point you certainly did. You want to use a fan to get rid of the fumes, because it can explode. So you want to be careful. So what we did was everybody watched the video a number of times on there's a video on actually how to make it. And then we all had a set of printed instructions as well. So there was, I don't know, 4 or 5 of us there that were making it with me to make sure that we did it right.
And so you got your cannabis oil. And I should go back a bit. When you were also at the doctor, you had skin cancer on your collarbone, right?
Yeah.
And you put some oil on the skin cancer on your collarbone. What happened?
I think it was a week and it was gone.
Just disappeared?
Yeah.
Did it kind of shrivel up and just drop off?
It dried out and then would peel off.
Peel off.
Mm-hmm.
Which I understand because you got an email from someone, because you help people all around the world who had cancer, and they opened her up and found that the cancer had shrunk, and they just peeled
off the tumors. Yeah, I just got that letter last week. Yeah.
Interesting. So you're way down in your intake of painkillers. You're on oil. You're taking it internally. But because you were on a disability income, you didn't do that every day. Do I have that right?
No, I didn't get up to the amount that was recommended. There's so much more new information out there now. But at that time, what they recommended was that you try to ingest 60 grams in 90 days. I couldn't ingest, so at the height of that, you're ingesting 1 gram a day. Mm-hmm. I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that physically, and I couldn't do that monetarily because it gets expensive.
And people say 1 gram a day is a lot. You have this funny story that we'll tell in the weeks ahead about this fellow who he took 40 grams at one time.
Yes.
I mean, that would knock off an elephant.
Mm-hmm.
But he was fine.
He was fine.
Slept a lot.
Yes. He was fine. Yeah.
So, and there is no known case, my understanding is there is no known case of anyone dying from taking too much cannabis.
No. Not one.
Interesting. So you started taking cannabis oil. And did you go back to the doctor for frequent checkups?
No, because I didn't want any more bad news. I was convinced, again, keeping in mind, I was completely on my own. There was nobody I could kind of call up or go, message on Facebook and ask about this.
Mm-hmm.
So in my mind, I was convinced because I hadn't gotten up to the gram a day that I still had cancer. It was obvious to me that it was shrinking because I had tumors internally and externally. Mm-hmm. So I could tell that it was shrinking, but I was convinced that I still had cancer. I didn't go back to the doctor for a year. And, when we talk about the fact that I've just finished being 4 years cancer-free, that's confirmed cancer-free with the actual biopsies, etc. I've probably been there closer to 5 years. Mm-hmm. But because I waited so long to go back to the doctor, we don't know for sure, but I suspect I've been clear for almost 5 years.
Were people, you said you have friends who helped you out. Mm-hmm. Were others, once they knew you were on cannabis oil, because we're talking about 5 years ago when it wasn't as prominent as it is today.
Correct.
Were people opposed to what you were doing?
Yeah. It's tough. With friends, there were some that were more supportive than others. There were some that were, it wasn't that they weren't supportive, they were skeptical. More than not supportive.
Nobody said you were crazy, though.
No, not to my face.
Not to your face. During your research on this, you met a woman in Texas who was diagnosed with the same cancer you had.
Yeah.
Tell us that story.
She was the same age as me. We were diagnosed within days of each other. Same diagnosis, same prognosis, same proposed method of treatment. And we, messaged back and forth and talked. And I sent her some information on oil and said, I've decided that this is what I'm going to do. And she opted for radiation. I got a letter at Christmas time from her husband saying that she had passed away from infection to radiation burns, mm-hmm. and left behind a 12-year-old daughter, I believe it was.
Yeah, what people don't realize is that, as you mentioned before, radiation and chemotherapy aren't just about losing your hair. They can have long-term effects.
Horrible. Long-term. The gift that keeps on giving.
The gift that keeps on giving. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, when you went to the doctor, and the doctor, who was somewhat, I should say, not really supportive, who said you had a death wish, and he found out that you were clear of cancer. What was his response?
I haven't seen him at all. I haven't gone back to him. But my GP he didn't even want to know what I was doing, actually. He covered his ears and went la 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 when I tried to tell him. After I was clear, he did a 180. He's like, Corey, cannabinoids are amazing. Do you know how many people we kill each day with pharmaceuticals?
Wow.
We had this chat for half an hour on cannabinoids and how good they are for people.
What made you set up a Facebook page and start helping others?
Well, I said all along, if this worked, I'd spend the rest of my life telling people about it. And that's what I do, you know. I don't know that when I was taking the oil that I really thought it would cure me. I remember looking at this tube of black stuff and thinking, this is going to save my life. And I was aiming for, I kept saying, even if this just holds it at bay, you know, even if I never get rid of these tumors and it just holds it at bay, that was going to be good enough for me. But when it was gone, 100% completely gone, I mean, how can you not tell other people about it?
Right.
You know, I'm a possessed woman on a mission.
Yeah, you certainly are possessed. I think. How many people do you think you've helped save their lives over the course of the last 4 years that you've been doing this?
Wow. That I know of.
And then I'm going to let her finish on this topic. Let me tell you this. Now, my true opinion about it is that I feel doctors know what will cure you. But they don't want, it's kind of like in a selfish way, they want to cure you, but don't want to cure you. They want to keep you uneducated versus educated, because I'm also in the same stage as she is in, not the same type of cancer. But when I tried to ask my doctor oncologist, okay, so what subdisease am I labeled as? You know, they want to give me a subdisease that you look up is not pertaining to what, you know, was told to me. So it's kind of like you be left in the dark with the doctors, and they just gonna go off what they go off of. But the more that you educate yourself on, I think they kind of feel some type of, I think you kind of intimidate the doctors when you know more. I guess they feel you know more than what they know, and really you don't. It's kind of like you just educate them, and you just want more clear, like more clarity in the question that you're asking. You just want to make sure that both of y'all on the same page. You want, you know, it's your body. It is your personal opinion to ask those questions. You putting your life in the hands of doctors, you know, of other people. So you want to make sure that they're giving you the best, you know, the best option possible. So my thing is why I had stopped it. I think they don't want to help. Some do. I can't say all doctors the same. But let's say about the ones who don't want to, like, kind of help you the way that she just and I have to help ourselves in certain situations. Y'all see this fee? Y'all see this Dr. Fee? Do y'all see this? This is why. Do y'all really see all this? Do y'all see this? This is why. Do you see that money? Them doctors. This pay for their Tesla. This pay the mortgage of their house. This pay for any extra houses you have, any vacation homes you have. So, thinking like a doctor, and I know my expenses, and I know what type of husband that I have. You know, I'm just saying as a female doctor. And if, you know, I was putting my shoe in a place, I'm going to still give you what's needed to you the right way. But I'm not going to give you this other solution, because then that cuts you coming to see me to get curable. Even though I know pain pills don't cure anything. They only supposed to tolerate pain, you know, versus me giving you all these different medication pills. I'm giving you a nauseous medication. I'm giving you a pain. I'm giving you a digestion. All that stuff that they have, they give you, they prescribe to you. It really don't help you. The only thing I can say they help you in a situation is when they do the surgery, when they give you new blood, when they give you all that good stuff. When they perform that stuff to you, that's good. I got to drink ginger ale. Now I'm starting to feel nauseous. But the good part about it, I wasn't feeling nauseous all day for real or like yesterday. So while y'all listen to it, I'm going to try to make me something to eat. And that's probably why, because I ain't really had nothing on my stomach. I wasn't hungry. So when I be feeling that way, sometimes I either like let it digest itself down or I just try to go make me eat. But that's kind of like what they do, guys. They kind of keep us in the dark until you learn how to find information. Like he told me, stay off of Google. Google this and Google tell you anything. I feel like Google is your best doctor. Without Google, you would know too much. You know, it's kind of like a built-in dictionary. Honestly, that's what the doctors use. They use Google. Why you think, if y'all notice something, why you think they always ask you your experiences? I mean, not your experience, your symptoms. Your symptoms is going to be based off how they research on your issue. Before they do the blood, before they do the scat can, what's called the CT scans, I'm sorry, guys, the MRIs, all those. Before they put you through all that machine stuff to fully figure out your issue. So what they're going to do is only treat you based off your symptoms that you prescribe. Meaning, let's say if I go in for a headache and I keep using the bathroom a lot, they only going to test me in that. Why not test me in everything? Why not see what's causing my headache and me running to the bathroom versus you just saying, oh, well, you know, how you sleeping, how you eating and stuff like that. And if you eat and sleeping fine, they come back, well, take the scan. We still don't see anything wrong. Of course you might not, because it might be other testings that you might need to do and I just can't figure those other symptoms out yet because those symptoms may not started on me yet. So yeah. So let me let you finish listening to it for the day. Then we're going to talk about wine flavors. Then I'm going to end the podcast for the day. And then tomorrow it'll be what they say, I got 6 left. It'll be 5 down, you know, as far as my radiation. And it does cook. I don't like how it does.
Easily 1,000 people, easily 1,000. But, you know, then I'll hear through the grapevine of so-and-so that I have completely forgotten about and thought they'd passed away. They're thriving. Yes, they got rid of that brain tumor and they're back at work and doing great. So the ones that I know of, about 1,000 plus people.
It's interesting when we first posted the fact that we would be doing this, and we got our website up and our Facebook page up. It was interesting to see the response from some of your fans, because on the Facebook page of Cannabis Health Radio, within 24 hours, we got over 1,000 likes. And people are, people all around the world revere you. Where do you get most of your inquiries from? Where does it vary?
It really varies. I tend to do, I call it the country of the week. I think what happens is somebody will post my story and it'll get shared in that area of the world. And then all of a sudden I'll have, 75, 100 messages from people in India or Holland,
Were you somewhat taken aback by the response when you set up this page?
Yes.
Because you do it 7 days a week, from early in the morning till late at night.
Till late at night. I've done it nonstop now for, almost 5 years, yeah.
Yeah. One of the things you said to me when you and I started doing this program, we actually were doing this on commercial radio once a month. And you said to me, once you save one person's life,
yes,
you become hooked.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you're hooked.
Yeah, I remember the first person that I helped save was an 86-year-old woman with stage 3 colon cancer with mets to the lymph nodes, I think it was. And she's still alive and well.
Interesting.
Yeah, 86 years old.
And I've read that one of the biggest users or those people who are inquiring most about the use of cannabis are people over the age of 60.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Now, Corey, I want to tell our listeners that Cannabis Radio is listener-supported radio, and to succeed in our mission to help people throughout the world, just as Corey is doing, we rely on our listeners for contributions of any amount. If you'd like to assist us in our mission, please go to our website, canadahealthradio.com, and click on the donate icon in the upper right hand of the webpage. Now, Corey, when you said once you help someone save their life, you get hooked. And when you and I were doing this once a month on commercial radio, this is an email from Jocelyn, a woman who lives in British Columbia. She sent this email to me when I was interviewing Corey on the commercial radio station I work for. And here's what she said. Dear Mr. Jessup, several weeks ago, you had a guest on your station who had cured her cancer with cannabinoid therapy. I was back east at the time visiting my daughter, who had just been diagnosed with stage 4 terminal colon cancer. It came as a huge shock to us. Jill has always been healthy and eats well, exercises, and maintains a healthy lifestyle. As I sat in the ICU beside my daughter's bed, listening to the machines and watching her struggle for each breath, for some reason, your show came to mind, and I tuned in on my laptop, which I brought with me. Lo and behold, there was your guest speaking about curing cancer. Talk about destiny, Mr. Jessup. I want you to know your show and Corey Yelland just may have saved my daughter's life. I could not believe what I was hearing on your broadcast, and I tracked Corey down. What an incredible woman. That kind soul talked with me for a good hour. Then she Skyped with both Jill and myself. The doctors had pretty much told Jill to get her affairs in order at the tender age of 26. They'd offered chemo, but only on a palliative level. She had one round before I made it to Ontario, and as a result of horrific complications, was in the intensive care unit of the local hospital fighting for her very life. Corey instructed me on where to find the oil and how much to take, and we started Jill on it. Mr. Jessup, the difference after such a short time is mind-boggling. My daughter has come from the brink of death to looking healthier than she has looked for a long time. We were told she may not last the week. Her stomach that was so swollen from acids and tumors is flat. She could not eat or drink. Now she's doing both. Her tumor marker levels have dropped down to almost normal. She's home and says she is never having another drop of chemo. There is no doubt my daughter will be completely free of cancer in no time. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for bringing such a life-saving savior on your show into my world. Because of you both, I have my daughter today. With tears and gratitude, Jocelyn. And that actually struck a nerve with me, Corey, because it relates to the fact that once you help one person, you get hooked. Mm-hmm. And it was fascinating to hear that someone heard our podcast when I was doing this with a commercial radio station, and their daughter's life was saved.
Yeah. That's huge when you think about it.
Yeah, it is. It really gets you emotional.
Yeah, it just got to me when you were reading it there. I'm like,
did it?
Whoa.
Yeah.
It's like, I remember that. Yeah, I remember talking to her and her saying, you've given me hope.
Yeah, which is exactly what you were looking for when you had it.
Yes.
You give people hope. Yeah, you are revered by thousands for your selfless dedication to helping others. Do you meet the odd person, Corey, that just refuses to take cannabis oil?
So selfless.
Yes.
You can't force people to do it, can you?
No, lead a horse to water. I sometimes get messages from people, can you talk my mom, my sister, my aunt, my girlfriend into taking this? And I say, sorry, I can't. I can give you the information to show them. Mm-hmm. But ultimately, it's their decision.
It's their decision.
Yeah,
that's right. Now, we should give a shout out to Joss in Germany, who we're going to interview in the coming weeks, who has a great line for people reluctant to take cannabis oil because they might get high.
Mm-hmm.
He tells them, do you want to get high or do you want to die?
I love that.
Isn't that great?
It is great.
Yeah. Because there's no question, you do get high.
Yes, you do.
But you build up a tolerance to it.
You build up a tolerance. You start out slowly, build up that tolerance so that you're comfortable with it.
Yeah. Should I tell listeners my story about taking cannabis oil?
I think you should.
I guess it was April of this year, I got some cannabis oil, and Corey told me her instructions were only take half a grain of rice, the size of a half a grain of rice. So I took it. And about an hour later, I said to my partner, Lisa, I said, I don't feel anything. Maybe I should take some more. And of course, instead of taking half a grain, I took a full grain. And man, the dreams that were going through my head that entire night, I'm laying in bed and I wake up and I thought, I've got to go to the bathroom, but I can't get up. So I woke up the next morning, and around 9 o'clock, I had a wicked headache because I was thirsty. And I laid down on the couch and I thought, man, I don't feel that great. So I went back to bed around 10 and slept till 4 in the afternoon.
And then you felt better.
And then I felt better. Yeah. But I knew nothing, there would be no harmful effects.
Yeah.
It's just a matter, I guess my body was not used to it.
That's right.
Yeah. Do you remember the very first time you took it?
Yes.
Did you get high?
A little bit, but you know what? I was scared. So scared the first time I took it. I had a friend stay with me for 9 hours because I'm the queen of paranoia on cannabis. That's why I quit smoking cannabis as a teenager, young adult, because I kept getting paranoid.
Yeah.
So I was really, really frightened that I was going to get paranoid, which I didn't.
Yeah. And some people, particularly men who have prostate cancer, a good idea would be to take this rectally.
Yes.
But when you talk to people around the world about taking cannabis rectally, they just say, I'm not going to do that.
I have had that said to me on more than one occasion, yes.
And I don't understand that, because if it can help you, who cares?
Who cares? I know I have one woman particularly who stands out in my mind, whose husband has prostate cancer, and it's very aggressive. It's a very aggressive form. And he absolutely flat out refuses to do suppositories. Yet the best thing for him to do would be a suppository where you get that cannabis oil as close as possible to the cancer. Certainly in my case, I started out doing cannabis oil orally, and then I started doing suppositories as well.
But if you have suppositories, you don't get the
you don't get the high.
You don't get the high.
You don't get the high. And they say 90% of cases, but I've talked to thousands and thousands of people, and I've only ever met one or talked to one person who got high that way. Mm-hmm. But you don't want to put it in too far. You just want to just past the sphincter muscle. If you put it up too far, then it gets picked up by the vagus nerve, I think it is, and then you do get high.
But you got high though, didn't you?
Oh yes, yeah.
Do you still take cannabis oil?
I do. I'm on a maintenance dose, and I take some every night.
Every night?
Yeah.
Just once a day?
Once a day, yes.
You know, I want to talk to you about going back to some of the stories that people have. We posted on our website the story of the family in Serbia.
Yes.
Whose young daughter was near death, and you told them about cannabis oil. Tell us that story.
I was contacted 4 Octobers ago now by a Serbian woman living in London, England, who had a sister who still lived in Serbia, who had a 5-year-old daughter with a tumor between the brain and the skull. They had done all the chemo and radiation. Nothing had worked, and the little girl had been sent home to live out her last days. She was indeed dying. Her organs had begun to shut down. She was unconscious for the most part, but she was seizuring almost constantly from the pressure on the brain. And did I think that the oil would stop the seizures? And I said, yes, absolutely I did. So got them pointed in the right direction, and the little girl, the mom started giving the little girl oil, and that was the end of it, or so I thought. And a year later, I get this incredibly emotional email from the parents saying that the child's up and playing, that the tumor's 75% gone, and they're going to go visit relatives on the weekend that they haven't seen in 3 years because she'd been too sick to travel. And then fast forward to Christmas time, I got another email from them saying they had changed her name from Anna to Bojana, which means a little warrior. that she was back in school. Here was a picture of her in her Christmas pageant, and that cancer was 100% gone. And she's alive today and 100% cancer free.
Amazing. Even telling that story, I can see you get choked.
Yeah, I do. And it's like, how can you not tell people about this?
You feel me?
Corey, is there anything you want to say in conclusion? I guess
I kind of told y'all.
I want to say it's going to be great working with you.
Yeah, I'm very excited about this.
We had this idea since the summer,
Yes.
and we thought I had coffee with a friend of mine, and I was encouraged after being at commercial radio that people wanted me to start a podcast. But so I talked with him about a podcast, and so we went through some.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. Did I just really take off what y'all was listening to? That was so rude. But that topic is about cannabis oil, medical, like what we're going through most of our cancer patients. You might have a loved one that is actually going through some situations in their life that they really don't know how to express themselves and probably feel closed in to where their voice is not heard, because we do feel like our voices are not heard. So again, I'm gonna talk about all of that, today. This is my journey, my story. Now, wine, on the other hand, I love Lano, Lano from Texas. I swear to you, Texas liquor, alcohol, man, you feel very intense with that stuff, and it be tasting so good. I be getting the sweet bread. Let me bring up the ones I get that I say that's a good recommendation. But I know I'm gonna bring that back up because they were still talking. So let me just let that come back up and let that finish up. Then I'll bring up.
We had this idea since the summer,
Yes.
and we thought I had coffee with a friend of mine, and I was encouraged after being at commercial radio that people wanted me to start a podcast. But so I talked with him about a podcast, and so we went through some scenarios, and he said, "Why don't we start a podcast with Corey Young?" So I phoned you, and you said, "Yes, let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's make it sound like it's a professional radio program, which we are doing, I hope, and dedicate this to listeners all around the world who want to use cannabis as an alternative treatment for themselves or their loved ones or their friends." And I think the work that you've done on Facebook, I think we can expand even further on this podcast, Cannabis Health Radio.
That's my hope. For me, it's all about getting the word out there and saving some lives. Share our website, share our Facebook page, tell somebody cannabis can save your life.
Yeah, and we never would have got this far without the support of some incredible people. And Curtis, our tech guy, who's with us today to guide us through the process, because we're not technical people.
We are not techies, just saying.
Curtis, I cannot express my gratitude for what you've done for us, because we are forever in your debt. Another person who has been absolutely brilliant is my partner, Lisa, who is the creative genius behind the design of the logo, website, and who has helped us beyond measure with many important things that usually drive us crazy. But she manages to get through them all and does a brilliant job. And finally, my old buddy, Greg, who was instrumental in helping us get started. To all, thank you very much. And if you have any questions or a story you'd like to tell us, simply email us at info@cannabishealthradio.com, and we welcome all comments. Corey, anything you want to say in conclusion?
Just that I'm really looking forward to getting this information out there, working with you, saving some more lives, and helping some people with different disease conditions.
Yeah, it's been great. Wherever you are in the world.
Now, that is good when it comes to cannabis on certain people, like I mentioned before. I didn't hear any of this stuff before I started taking it. Me and my husband already introduced me to the cannabis world. So I've been already on cannabis, but as I'm tuned into cannabis, I'm learning more and more about it health wise as well as enjoyment wise. Like, yeah. Now, I know a lot of pet lovers out there, and they probably want to know what's going to help save their babies. Let me let you listen to cannabis, medical marijuana for pets. Now, this is for you pet lovers. So after this one, I'm gonna have another one that's talk about the secret that it was secretly gave to her son on cannabis to save his life. Because a lot of people really look at cannabis as a bad situation. It's really not. They should be looking at pain pills the same way if they're gonna look at cannabis. You ask me, how are you gonna look at medical marijuana bad, but you allow alcohol and drugs to still be coming into the world of the U.S.? So I don't know. I think what it is, they don't want people to be healthy and mindful and focused. It's kind of like they want to keep you in the dark, want to keep you closed out, want to keep you lost in the world that you are. No, if I like she says, Core, if I could save one life, I'm great. Long as I'm able to help benefit what I'm going through, it might help someone. It might help someone. Like today when I went to my appointment, it was some of my counselor buddies, because I call them my buddies. And when I went in, I was letting them know what was taken from me, since I don't feel as nauseous as much as I do during the day. Because I mean, all day during the day, I felt sick after sick, and it was just so annoying. And it takes away your ability of wanting to eat and drink anyway. Because I don't know, it just messes up something inside of your acid reflex side. So I told them about the nutrition shake that I be taking, the cancer GI tract medical food, and then as well as the Ensure Clear. Like I said, it might not help everybody, but it doesn't hurt to try it first before you judge it. And I still take my cannabis pills along with that stuff, because the pain, cancer patients have pain. And sometimes the pain can be very severe, and it ain't gonna be to the fact, and it sometimes it can be moderate. It just depends on your level of pain, you know. Okay, so let you listen to the puppies.
Hi, I'm Rob Silver. I'm a veterinarian in Colorado with more than 32 years in practice. And I've recently written a book on medical marijuana in your pet.
Are you guys able to hear it?
Dr. Becker
on my podcast.
So tell me, I interviewed you last year at this convention. Mm-hmm. You were probably writing the book at that time.
Yeah, it took much longer than I thought.
I believe you. I believe you. It's a big process, but it's finally out. What is the book called?
Medical Marijuana and Your Pet.
Okay.
It's written for the pet owner.
Great.
To help guide them navigate through all the different regulatory paths and benefits and risks of using medical marijuana in their own pets.
It's wonderful. Mm-hmm. For dogs and cats, or all species?
My experience is primarily with dogs and cats. I think it has applications in all species, but I want to speak about what I know.
Sure. Yeah. And so along that vein, you have used medical marijuana in your practice for pets?
Well, there are some legal issues around that. So I as a veterinarian practicing in Colorado since actually for quite a long time, but since 2000, medical marijuana has been legal in Colorado. So clients would come in to me with their pets, having given them something of their stash, their pets having had medical problems. They weren't just trying to get them high.
Of course.
I totally don't.
Of course.
I totally don't like that.
Agree with that.
Pets don't like being stoned.
No, of course, terrible.
Yeah. And they would tell me stories, and I would get kind of listen in amazement and wonder more about it. And so that kind of stimulated me to learn more and to listen more. But because there are federal laws against THC, and THC is scheduled as a Schedule 1, and we as veterinarians have to keep our licenses and our TBA licenses, it's really illegal for a veterinarian to prescribe cannabis that contains THC.
So what is that? Could you prescribe an oil, like a CBD oil, or not even that?
Well, I believe that you can.
Okay.
But there's been no test cases.
Okay.
And the government can get kind of edgy.
And you don't want to be the test case.
No, not at all. I want to be the source of information.
Yes,
that's me.
Avoid being test cases.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what are some 2 questions? What are some basic applications you would use cannabis for pets, and then what form?
Well, when you look at hemp, Hemp is different than cannabis in that it has very, very low levels of THC and high levels of CBDs. And we know that there's actually more medicinal applications for CBDs than there are for THC. Plus, we found that dogs are extremely sensitive to THC, so much more so than any other species we've studied. And they can have, there's a number of ER admissions for dogs that have accidentally gotten into edibles and things like that. So I think going the hemp route at this point in time is really a better way to go.
It's safe.
And from what I know and from what I hear from pet owners, that one of the most common applications for CBDs has to do with anxiety. It has to do with behavior. These hyper dogs, these dogs that look like they've had too much espresso.
Sure.
You know?
Sure.
And that seems to work very well. It works at much lower dosages. And CBDs are quite costly. And so it's good that we can find lower doses that work because it makes it more cost effective for the pet owner to continue to give it to their pet if it works. So anxiety and what we know about CBDs and cannabinoids, which is the name for the molecules that are found in cannabis, both marijuana and hemp, is that they have a strong affinity for the brain and for nervous tissue, and they cross the blood-brain barrier really easily. So we see many applications in that regard. Anxiety is one. There's evidence that it can be helpful with certain kinds of epilepsy, although it may not work as a standalone to treat epilepsy. Closed head trauma, even emotional things like post-traumatic stress we're seeing in humans. As far as applications there.
Yes.
I have questions about other applications that I haven't seen yet. Like, what about the dogs with degenerative myelopathy? I think they're definitely worth studying.
Sure.
So that's kind of the first set of applications that seem the easiest to apply it to. But then we're also looking at its benefit for pain. And there's a good deal of evidence that supports that CBDs really do help with pain. And they help with pain through mechanisms that are different than narcotics. So you can use them together. And different than NSAIDs. So you can use all three of those combined to help with pain management,
So nice.
which is really helpful.
Yeah.
And there doesn't appear to be any interference in terms of drug interactions with that. So cancer pain, I had one client whose dog had osteosarcoma, big swelling of the bone, very painful. And he said, like, after 2 days of giving them something, the dog started putting weight on it again. But another application appears to actually cause tumors. Maybe not all tumors. We don't know enough about its full range of applications, but it seems to shrink tumors. Because a couple of weeks later, he called me and says, "Am I imagining it? Or is this lump getting smaller?"
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
It's really
Profound.
exciting.
Yes.
But what we find, though, is that just like it seems with many Chinese herbs that we're also using for cancer, that it works well, you discontinue it, cancer.
Sure. So in your book, do you discuss hemp and as an alternative?
I talk about both of them.
Okay.
Because I want, and first of all, I have to say, the book is for people who live in states where it's legal.
Okay,
I can't sanction its illegal use.
Sure.
And because of the problem with THC, I do stress and emphasize the value of hemp. However, there are people who are going to have easy access to high THC cannabis. And so in the book, I've presented a number of recipes where people, if they can grow it their own or buy the raw pot, the buds, they can then process it using a coconut oil extraction or olive oil extraction or butter extraction into a low potency liquid form that just has the beneficial cannabinoids in it. And then I describe how they can introduce it to the pet in a slow and gradual fashion to avoid
any
adverse problems and ER visits, things like that are really bad.
Yeah, well, fascinating. What a nice resource that you have put together for people.
I also have a chapter in there that is a guide to dispensary products, because many people who do live in these states with medical marijuana
will just go and buy.
They can go to a dispensary, and there's some products that I think should be avoided, the ones that have chocolate in them, and raisins, and macadamia nuts, which we know to be toxic to dogs. So I guide them through that as well.
Yeah, wonderful.
Yeah, and I've got some patient stories too in it, some of my own personal experiences with my own animals and with a few client animals as well, to kind of describe some of the successes and a failure too.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
it's not all 100%.
Well, and because we don't really have all the ins and outs, it's not yet really a well-defined science for animal medicine. We just don't. There's not enough doctors. There's not enough veterinarians doing it to collect a large body of evidence. So it's important that people like you, who have quantifiable personal experience, that it's wonderful you're willing to share it with others that are interested, because it's not something you learn about in vet school.
I got really concerned about the number of dogs that were being admitted to the ER because they were accidentally eating edibles that their owners had left out on the table. And that's really what got me going. You know, plus my interest as an herbalist.
Yes.
In this very interesting new therapy that we have available to us.
Yeah. Well, this is wonderful. Where do people go to get your book?
Well, it's at the printer now.
Okay.
So it's soon. I know. I really thought it would be. I really wanted to have it ready by now. So I have a website where people can go to, although it is not alive yet.
Okay.
It's called potforpets.info.
Okay.
And if you go there, there'll be a page that describes everything in the book, and it'll give you links where you can download free excerpts, or you can download an ebook version of it. Or if you want to have the print version, it's 150 pages with 36 color photographs in it. Many of the photographs detail the recipe, so it's quite accessible.
Yeah, a nice resource.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for the update. I appreciate you sharing this great information with us.
I appreciate you letting me share it.
Okay, so with that being said, that's for all you pet lovers. So, you know what's the weird thing about it is that not only that medical cannabis can do good just for us, but you can also try it on your pet. Now, what he's saying is not promising to all pets, but if it works for your pet, you and your pet gonna be chilling. Y'all just gonna be some high ass people. And I bet you that'd be funny. That'll look like something I just sit back and laugh at, just to really see a pet high. You know, just think about it. You know, you see all that on TV.
Thanks for listening.
Actually having a real pet that's actually going through the same stages. Well, I am going to put some information listed up for you. I'm going to let you listen to this last one. These are things to consider as far as like when choosing cannabis. And then what should you look for to understand the strain effects? So I'm going to post that for you, and then I'm gonna go eat me something, and then I will be back tuned in. And then again, thanks for tuning in with your girl True with the Roberts. So one moment so you can listen to the last one.
It was 2012, at the age of 12, that you then became one of a very, very exclusive club, one that you never want to get into. 1 in 7 billion, 5 people on the planet have Langerhans sarcoma. What's that?
There's not a lot of research into it, so I'm not too sure on what it is. It's very confusing.
Yeah.
So the treatment you were facing that the doctors recommended was a bone marrow transplant?
Yeah, it was extensive chemo and radiotherapy, and then bone marrow transplant.
And you didn't have just one transplant, this was 3 that you had to have. And how did you get on with that?
Well, they failed, the first 3. But yeah, they're not too, it's not too trouble. So it's not a big problem to have them. So
then after that, there's a mum, because he then really began to suffer.
Yeah.
Have to watch him suffer. How bad was it?
Well, after the 4th transplant, they told us that, the first 3 had failed, and literally all they had was one more chance for him. They had one more bag of his own cells, no more. They stressed the thing to us that there was no more chances after this. And unfortunately, 3 days after he had his final transplant, he trapped his fingers down the side of the bed and then picked up some infections. Now, obviously, infections with no immune system whatsoever, and no way for an immune system to even start to build within his body. He was literally being kept alive by antibiotics. That's what they told us. He did get incredibly ill. Throughout his whole treatment, he'd been very happy and smiling, and he'd always been tried to be quite jovial, but actually those last couple of months were very, very difficult. He was in a lot of pain.
You were given, I think, 3 days.
3 days a week at most is what they told me when I asked them the time scale.
But you planned your funeral, hadn't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
To what extent?
All of it.
What were you going to do?
It was going to be fancy dress, and I'd chosen all the costumes for people, and it was going to be quite embarrassing for some of the people to come. So, yeah.
You actually said you wanted to go.
Yeah, I did.
He was looking forward to it.
After 4 years of treatment, it's enough.
Enough was enough. And so this story then takes an entirely different turn. How did that happen?
Through lots of research, I'd done lots of research. Obviously, when his secondary cancer arrived and it was so unknown, I turned to the internet and started looking. And over the following months and couple of years afterwards, cannabis just kept popping up. People kept emailing me, "You need to try this. You need to." And I said, "But he hasn't got cancer. You know, the cancers are gone. This is now a completely different issue. It won't work for him." And I would dismiss it. And it actually came to the point where I was in hospital with Darren, and he was so incredibly ill and really on a high dose of morphine that he was actually now on fentanyl, which they can't go any further than that. And it wasn't working against his hand and the other issues he had with his stomach. And I asked the doctor for Bedrocan, which is a cannabis-based pain relief that's available in Europe, because I wanted to go through the proper measures. And she actually told me, "We can't, because it hasn't been licensed for children." So, you know, and more of it came up, people just kept saying, and I thought, you know what have we got to lose?
And you've got nothing to lose at that.
He's dying anyway, you know. So
they just withdraw your antibiotics. At this point, there was no other treatment. So you took this, and you asked him, and you said, "Yeah, let's try it."
I was happy to.
What did you notice? How quickly did things change?
Oh my God! I mean, I honestly, the effect of it blew my mind. It wasn't what I expected. All I expected was done a little bit of research, and some people use cannabis to kind of alleviate their anxiety and some pain, and that's what Darren was really experiencing. And on day 70, when they said there's definitely nothing in his bone marrow, there's nothing there, you've now just got to wait. Darren got very anxious and said, "Well, how much longer do I have to wait?" They started to try and up the morphine, introduce sleeping tablets, and so that's when I actually gave it. And within half an hour to an hour,
how was it administered?
Under the tongue, sublingually. It's just a tincture. It's not the oil that people talk about. It's just a tincture.
And what did you notice?
We noticed within half an hour to an hour that he was just chilled out. He just relaxed. The anxiety stopped. He no longer was panicking, and he was able to be compos mentis, which he wasn't able to be on the morphine.
But health-wise, I mean, actually, things being tested against you, your white blood cells began to go up.
Yeah, after 5 days. Obviously, they told us nothing in his bone marrow. So gave it to him 5 days later. When the bandages came off his hand and we saw healthy fingers, which we were told there was no way they were under there. When we saw a healthy finger, so the doctors started panicking. This was now day 75 after the transplant.
And he was meant to only be there for three days.
Yeah, and nobody has ever engrafted after 50 days. So day 75, and all of a sudden his white count has appeared. The doctors start running around frantically. Doctors from Bristol Children's Hospital were called in to do some more blood tests, which I said, "Well, there's no point. You told me only a week ago there's nothing there." And obviously, in the blood count, it was there. It's very small, but it was there.
And to test the theory, you actually withdrew the cannabis after a little while, and the blood count started to go down again.
So where are you now? How are you now?
Perfectly healthy. My bloods are all normal.
You stress this doesn't work for everybody. This is not a cure. This is something that worked for you.
And you could be prosecuted. Let's be honest.
Well, the law, under current laws in England and Wales, cannabis is not registered as having any therapeutic value. Anyone using the drug, even for medical reasons, could be charged for possession. Possession carrying a maximum sentence of 5 years in jail or an unlimited fine. A fascinating story. We're so happy that you're here and healthy. Good luck with the diner. He wants to open his own vegan American
If anyone wants to
themed
give him
diner.
an apprenticeship as a chef, then please. He's dying to become
Who would not want to give an apprenticeship to the boy in 7 billion?
Yeah, totally.
All right, let me stop it, guys. Here I come. I'm being greedy for a second before the other episode come up. All right, let me go to it. 1 second. All right, okay. All right, guys, again, I want to thank you for tuning in with your girl, True with the Roberts. My job, my goal, not my job. Well, yes, within God, it is a job to you. My job and my goal is to not only educate myself, but try to educate others out there that don't have a voice for themselves, others who don't ask enough questions. Just the voice of heard, pretty much. And if I'm able to also, like Miss Corey was on her story, if I'm able to touch someone out there, that helps me. I'm saving another life besides my own. So I just want to say thanks for tuning in. Share my page, like it. Again, this is my journey, my story. And like I said, my topic's going to be based off a lot of different things. I don't want to just always tune into only cancer, only because it's already a hard topic to talk about. So I try to talk about other things, but even though it's still about my journey, so I do try to like hear what other people might be facing, like relationship issues or imprisonment issues, you know, anything that can kind of help someone to help their day, that helps me. So again, go ahead and get y'all something to eat, go lay out with your family, your loved one. Thanks for tuning in. Y'all have a great night.